Greetings once again and welcome to Live with Chatufa. ZANU-PF trashes America's billion-dollar aid to Zimbabwe. We have seen the coming in of the Trump administration, which has changed quite a lot of things in the politics of America, as well as the relationships between America and the other countries. Yesterday, we were talking about the sour relationships that are now between Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, ANC, and Donald Trump's administration in America. We've also seen the World Health Organization having its funding that comes from America withdrawn, as America has been the greatest funder of the World Health Organization. We have seen also many people lambasting Donald Trump for removing American aid from the World Health Organization. And of course, people might say that because they don't understand what exactly is happening. I wish I could do a show where I could explain why Donald Trump would withdraw from the World Health Organization. A lot of stuff, if you would get to know the truth of what is happening, you would understand why Donald Trump would have to withdraw that World Health Organization contribution, right? That also is going to affect how the World Organization is going to work, which is going to affect also a lot of African countries, including Zimbabwe, which is a government that was relaxed when it comes to allocating funds towards health in Zimbabwe. Health is supposed to be having a very big amount of allocation percentage on the budget, but Zimbabwe is not doing that. They would rather put money in the army than put money in the hospitals, which is quite very ironic, as we are not in a battle, we are not in a war, but it is because Mnangagwa is always thinking about protecting himself more than the lives of the Zimbabwean people, and which is quite very sad and very unfortunate. So for them to continue to speak the way they are doing with Donald Trump is very, very risky. Stephen Chan reports that ZANU-PF trashes America's billion-dollar aid package to Zimbabwe, showers praises on Chinese. Avoid such language, the ambassador advised. So exactly this language is used. Zimbabwe will miss the US funds if Trump withdraws them. China won't replace them. And that is the truth. What Stephen Chan is saying here is very, very true. We have always been saying this, that these all-weather friends of ZANU-PF, countries like China, Belarus, and Russia, they are not naturally countries that want to help in terms of donations and humanitarian aid. They are not doing that. They are countries that enter into relationships, especially for their personal benefit. You'd find that where they don't benefit much themselves, they don't want. China cannot run non-governmental organizations. How many non-governmental organizations have we ever seen or heard that are from China or even from Russia? You would rather hear NGOs from countries like Netherlands, countries like Germany, countries like Australia, countries like UK and America and stuff like that. So this is very unfortunate that ZANU-PF, they have this pride of the devil, which is quite very tragic to Zimbabwe, where they want to continue to attack the administration of Donald Trump to the point of even trashing the American billion-dollar aid package that is coming to Zimbabwe. I've heard many Zimbabwean people saying, we are not going to be told by Americans what to do. Who are Americans? Who do they think they are? We can live on our own. They should leave us alone. Just imagine, they are saying things like that, but yet they are not representing the Zimbabwean people. And you ask yourself, on whose behalf are these Varakashis of ZANU-PF speaking in that manner? We have seen Farai Marapira speaking very irresponsibly, attacking the very same aid that is coming from America. And the ambassador of America to Zimbabwe has advised that you must avoid such language. It is because she understands that the retaliation by Americans that could come against Zimbabwe would devastate Zimbabwe to a great, great extent. So it is very, very unfortunate, really, to have these arrogant people that are just speaking like baboons who are on trees. And they forget that it is very, very important to have relationships with other countries that are willing to help. Because while Zimbabwe is in a position to help herself with the natural resources that we have, the resources that are being siphoned by the very same ZANU-PF people, and the money is not coming into Zimbabwe. It's being banked in other places, being hidden all over the world. And yet Zimbabwe continues to suffer. Zimbabwe could do all these things for its own if we did not have thieves for a government, if we did not have a mafia for a government. We need a government that is responsible, that stands for the rights of the people of Zimbabwe, for the welfare of the people of Zimbabwe. Instead, the little aid that is coming from well-wishers, those that are also thinking of the poor Zimbabweans who are being robbed by their own governments, they are now turning around and start to attack the very same people that are bringing aid into Zimbabwe. We saw last time the US aid people being deported by Mnangagwa from Zimbabwe, and yet US aid has been helping very, very much in terms of food aid as well as hospital costs. They are funding hospitals big time, and yet Mnangagwa can politic to the point of just chucking them out of the country over some very crooked reasons that you can ask yourself, what is the greater benefit? Why are you not looking at the greater benefit at the end of the day? Because this bickering and fighting that they always want to do, especially with the Western countries, is not going to help Zimbabwe at all. In fact, this is what is causing us as Zimbabwean people to be where we are today. And ZANU-PF cannot help us out of this situation. Their friends, China, Russia, Belarus, and Iran, they cannot be able to help us out of this situation. So we are caught in between the hard place and the rock. We have ZANU-PF chasing away our very donors that are left who are still willing to help, while at the same time, ZANU-PF is stealing big time again from our natural resources, and they are hiding the monies somewhere. Zimbabweans are not benefiting. Zimbabwe is not benefiting. The economy of Zimbabwe is being milked, and by the people that want to call themselves Pan-Africanists. They want to call themselves freedom fighters who fought for the rights of the black people of Zimbabwe. They continue to talk about the war and how they went to war, how people died in the war to bring freedom, and yet there is no freedom in Zimbabwe to talk about. Zimbabwe is not a free country. Zimbabwe is not a democratic country. Zimbabwe is a country in pain, in oppression. Zimbabwe is a country under serious dictatorship, and nobody should be living under the conditions that Zimbabwean people are enduring in Zimbabwe. This is why we continue to fight the fight we are fighting. This is why we continue to pray for the nation of Zimbabwe. This is why we continue to believe our God for freedom, for liberty, for Zimbabwe. Because enough is enough. ZANU-PF has just done enough. Mnangagwa has done too much. And we definitely need a working government, a working country. Otherwise, Zimbabwe remains the laughingstock of the world. And it's not going to be helping out. It's not helping at all. In fact, it's causing so much poverty and suffering for the masses of Zimbabwe. This is the situation we find ourselves in. So let's continue to stand in the gap and pray for Zimbabwe. Let's continue to put pressure on Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. Freedom for Zimbabwe is a reality. Freedom is coming. God is watching. God is with us. God is in it. And Aluta continua.